colleague Dr. Mayil, thank you so much for inviting me for this forum. We have had several academic interactions over the years. I have visited Sri Lanka several times. And thank you so much. And being outsider for this group, sort of, I'm from Sri Lanka, so thank you very much for inviting me. I think most of the people, most of the scholars in India have a big interest in Sri Lanka, especially in this wider Indo-Pacific power rivalry. So thank you for inviting me. So the Indo-Pacific concept, after sort of it emerged in the 21st century, the Sri Lanka became a very important point in that whole scenario because of the strategic location of Sri Lanka. Uh, Someone may say Sri Lanka is in the most strategically important portion in the Indian Ocean region. And from a Sri Lankan point of view, because due to its strategic location, we cannot avoid the interest of major powers. Historically, India has been the most important influencer in Sri Lankan culture or in the politics, and then the Westerners, the United States, even now the rise of China, and Sri Lanka cannot. It's an unavoidable situation for Sri Lanka in the 21st century. So there have been many, connections, connection with China, India, and United States in Sri Lanka's development, in recent development. In other than this Indo-Pacific, power rivalry, we had this, ongoing thing related to the COVID-19 pandemic, which Sri Lanka also got affected from like early January. But in the region and in the world, Sri Lanka have done really well in relation to the response to the COVID-19. From like January now, there's no cases reporting inside Sri Lanka, and there was only 13 deaths in Sri Lanka, from this COVID-19 pandemic. The country, there's no lockdown in the country. That we have done really well, and we have ranked very high in response to this pandemic. And it was a win situation for Sri Lanka after this, the Easter Sunday attack, which happened, last year. Mismanagement of various, intelligence and many security issues related to that incident, which is ongoing, is investigated in Sri Lanka. And so we have responded well, and we have cooperated with India and other countries in the region to overcome, the challenge of COVID-19. So while this progressing, we cannot forget you can say the main problem that Sri Lanka is facing in the 21st century is the geopolitical challenges that it is faced due to the power rivalry in the Indian Ocean and the wider Indo-Pacific region. Now Sri Lanka became very important for China in its Belt and Road Initiative, though it was officially announced around 2013. Sri Lanka became a big partner to the Belt and Road Initiative since, you can say, since 2005. The former president of Sri Lanka, President Mahinda Rajapaksa, during his time, Sri Lanka became a big partner to the Belt and Road Initiative. Under Chinese assistance, many projects were implemented in Sri Lanka. Among them, you can see the first expressways in Sri Lanka was built under the assistance of China. Then the Lotus Tower, which came up in Sri Lanka, and the first coal power plants in Sri Lanka. There were many projects that were implemented, but the most important is the two projects in connected to the port of Colombo and a new port development in southern tip, Hambantota. Now, Hambantota, of course, we have actually asked India to come and invest in Hambantota in the first place, but it was, India did not accept that request. Then the Chinese came, and initially we took a huge loan from Chinese for the first and second phases, and you all know the story. But later, we could not repay the loan, and we have to sell the majority of shares of the operation of the port to the Chinese. Other than the port, there are several large-scale infrastructure development projects in Hambantota in the southern region, largely implemented by the Chinese. Then in Colombo, Chinese invested in under the Colombo port expansion project, new 3 terminals are being built. To the Colombo's new south terminal was offered to a Chinese company in a built operation and transfer deal, and in collaboration with the Sri Lankan Port Authority and a Sri Lankan private company, I think it will go. It's a 35-year deal. And at the same time, China has invested in this new port city project. I think that is also have generated many, sort of, suspicion maybe in the Indian strategic community. That is right next to Colombo. Land reclamation in right next to Colombo, 269 acres of land, and that will be the most valuable land in Sri Lanka. Now they have completed the the project, and they're asking the investors to come and invest in this area, and it will go till 2041. It's a collaborative project between the Urban Development Authority of Sri Lanka and a Chinese company. And China initially have invested $1.5 billion in this project, and over time till 2041, we are expecting to receive like 20 billion worth of billion US dollars worth of investments into this spot of land. Now, this will be the biggest foreign investment in Sri Lanka. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this have generated suspicion in the Indian Strategic Committee as well as in United States and in the West. Now, to start this project in 2014, actually, Chinese President Xi Jinping came to Sri Lanka. Never before a Chinese president have made a official visit to Sri Lanka. There have been prime ministers of China, Zhou Enlai and all. And it highlights the importance of this project. And that is one of the very important projects under the Belt and Road Initiative in 2014. The foundation stone laying ceremony with at that time the President Mahinda Rajapaksa, and when in this ceremony it is said that also Chinese 2 nuclear submarines have visited the port of Colombo, and obviously this didn't go well in the Indian strategic committee and the policy making circles in Delhi. Subsequently in 2015 there was a government change in Sri Lanka. New government came to power. For some time the project was halted, but again it got started, and then India through its own projects thought of come and initiate some strategically important projects in Sri Lanka itself, and it has, as you all highlighted, it has collaborated with the United States and Japan in many projects in Sri Lanka and various other countries in the region. Under that, especially India and Japan came up with a plan. They also signed a memorandum of cooperation with the Sri Lankan government to operate the Eastern Container Terminal in the port of Colombo in the previous government. But now it has faced with some challenges. The trade unions and some authorities in Sri Lanka oppose that project because what they say is that it's not a lucrative deal for Sri Lanka because the Chinese terminal was like they completely build it and they are going to operate it with the Sri Lankan company and they are going to transfer. Now in the southern terminal, what has happened is half of the terminal have been already been built by the Sri Lanka, and when India comes, it will be a very profitable business. What many says is why Sri Lanka should, I mean, with a government and a private partnership, they can operate this. We can allow India and maybe with the collaboration of Japan to build the best container terminal under agreement, build, operate, and transfer. So even the Chinese build this southern terminal, they earn profit within 5 years. Whatever they spend, they earn within 5 years. Now they are, I mean, they will, with some, large shares, they'll be operating for 35 years. Same sort of agreement that we can have with India. From Indian point of view, also Colombo port is very important. Most of India's transshipment goes via the port of Colombo. So it's from India's point of view, Colombo is strategically important, and it's also very from Indian perspective, they can worry because of the Chinese presence in port of Colombo and in the area around port of Colombo. So if there's a deal on the best container terminal, it would have been a good sort of a balancing act from Sri Lanka, and it will benefit Sri Lanka as well, since India is the major contributor to earnings in the port of Colombo. And then also in recent years, United States have shown greater interest in Sri Lanka. During the last government, they agreed on a grant called Millennium Challenge Cooperation. The US have is ready to give a grant to develop in a land belt that connects Colombo all the way to Trincomalee. This is a complete grant, 480 million. Yes?
Yeah, I would urge you to conclude in maybe a couple of minutes so that we have ample time for discussion.
Yes, 480 million. Thank you. I'll finish quickly. 480 million, and that is under discussion now. There are many opposition, large opposition, some groups to this project, because it's coming from the Americans, and when the Americans enter into a country, it have not worked well in various parts of the world. Lots of things, and in the recent government, the new government have given a very important portion to India. They have said that India is the most important country in Sri Lanka's foreign relations. Our foreign secretary, foreign ministry have several times have mentioned that, and they have appointed a new high commissioner, a former minister, Mr. Milinda Moragoda. It's a new appointment. It's a cabinet level appointment. That means he's a minister. He's not. He's an ambassador, but he's in a ministerial level. So he doesn't need to deal with the foreign ministry in dealing with India. It's a cabinet level, a diplomatic appointment in first time in Sri Lanka. That shows that the present government has given a very important place to India in its foreign relations. So, but anyway, Sri Lanka will face this challenge with the rising Chinese influence and the India's collaboration with United States and India, and we have to balance that, and it will definitely provide Sri Lanka with some opportunities for their development, but still Sri Lanka should have a strategy to get the opportunities while to avoid some negative challenges these power politics may have on Sri Lanka. So thank you so much. I'm ready to answer any question.